Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today is going to be a part 2 kind of storytime video to my last storytime video, which was my abusive relationship video that I put up a while back. So today is going to be kind of like a more specified version, kind of. I'm going to take a specific situation out of that story time I did before, since it was kind of general. I didn't really want to say too much. And if you haven't watched my previous video, I speak about the relationship I was in when I was in high school, my abusive relationship, as I continue to phrase it. But me and that person, Robert, me and that person were together for 3, almost 4 years, around that time, that gray area. And the specific situation I want to talk about today was the time that he stole from me. This would have to be the ending or nearing the ending of my junior year of high school. And yeah, it was towards the end, so I don't think I was in class that day. It was our anniversary, so I went to go hang out with him, and me and him were just hanging out for a while, talking, listening to music. That's what we were really doing. We were really listening to music together, and then we were gonna go do something. My best friend at the time was going out with one of his friends, and his friend lived in the same building. So me and him were going down the stairs, and then he said that he was going to go get his friend, see if he was awake, so then we could go do what we were going to do. And we were listening to music on my iPod. So when he went to go get his friend, he took it with him. I'm not thinking anything of it. It's whatever. Then 30 minutes go by. An hour goes by. 2 hours go by. And I'm kind of like now looking for him. And he was gone. He was just gone. He didn't live there. His grandmother lived there. So he didn't live in the projects. He just stayed there a lot since his friends were there and his grandmother lived there and whatever. But yeah, he was just gone. He was nowhere to be found. And at this point, I am going back to school, back to meet up with my friends. I didn't know what to do, what to think, how to go about the next step I was going to go about it next. And I meet up with my friends, and we go to, where did we go to? We went to White Castle. We went to White Castle, and we just sat there, and I told them everything that happened, and they're trying to internalize it. And he stole from me. My boyfriend, now ex-boyfriend, stole from me. And after that, he kind of just fell off the face of the earth, including social media. He was just nowhere to be contacted, found, or anything like that. And it was a lot. It was a lot to deal with at the time, because I've never had that happen to me before. And for someone you think that you trust and you confide in, and I didn't think anything of it. Him taking it, I wasn't like worried or cautious when I handed it to him. I just handed it to him. But now it's just like, I don't know. It's not even that I should have known better, because that's not something I feel like you can anticipate. Like, you don't expect someone that you trust to do you wrong. So when that happened, it just like really, that was really one of the breaking points that I had when it came to just ending it and just not dealing with that situation anymore. I didn't blame myself anymore at that point. He did something that was just kind of brought who he was as a person full circle, and it really opened my eyes to see what I was really dealing with and what I had to deal with ending it completely. I just kind of know how to find him at this point. Um, but I'm like erratic. I'm like hyped up and upset, but adrenaline is rushing through me, and I'm just like, I'm ready to be the person I should have been the whole time. So back then I was really quiet, shy, closed in. I was ready to be that outspoken, loud, angry Spanish person that was inside of me. And we go to the projects. We eat a whole box of Little Caesars pizza before the confrontation, just to, like, you know, I don't know, start getting amped up, I guess. And right now it seems quiet. Like the projects, it's like the outside buildings, the outer buildings, and then inside there's like a basketball court and a little field, and the walkways and everything like that. And it's quiet. No one is outside, no one's standing on the corners, nothing like that. Not him, not his friends, nothing like that. So I just go to his grandmother's house, and I'm trying not to like be that crazy ex-girlfriend. I'm trying to seem calm, even though I'm like screaming on the inside. So I go up to the door and I knock on the door, and I'm waiting for his grandmother to open the door, and his mom opens the door. And it kind of took me aback because I didn't expect for her to be there. I don't know, it's just like, it's mom, And she opens the door, and I explain to her the situation. And she says to me, "Oh, that iPod he's had, I wondered where he got that from." And it was just like, you see with your son, you see your son has something that doesn't belong to him, and you wonder where he got it from. You just don't. And I was just like, yeah, it's mine. He took it from me. I want it back. Do you know where he is? Oh, he's not home right now. He should be home later, blah, blah, blah. I'll have a talk with him. That doesn't give me my iPod back. That brings me no solution. You having a talk with your son does nothing for me. So I just kind of let that go, and we leave the building. His grandma's building is one of the outer buildings, so it's one of the first buildings you come across before you even go in the projects. So we left that building, and now we're going into the projects. We're heading towards the basketball court because we see people playing. And from afar, I know his physique, how tall he is, what he looks, what he wears, and I spot him. I just see him, and I start getting like anxious. I start getting very hyped up, and my friends are telling me to calm down. And in the future, they'll probably be here in an updated video just to tell you their perspectives, because that day was probably one of the craziest days that we experienced together. And we're heading towards the basketball court, and he sees me. So he goes over to his bag or whatever it was. I'm assuming he takes out my iPod, and he heads to another building that's across from the basketball court, away from us, and he hands it to someone, and that person disappears. And then he goes back to playing basketball and blah, blah, blah. And then me and my friends, I don't know, we sat down. We sat down at the basketball court, and we were just kind of like examining everyone. A couple of his friends were there that knew me, said hi, blah, blah, blah. But they knew what was going on. So it wasn't a genuine hi. And it was like, what are you doing here kind of hi. So we're just watching them play basketball. And then he starts to walk away. So at that point, that's where I get up and follow him. And I'm following him, and I start screaming, I start yelling, I start, why did you steal my iPod? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Did you feel like it was necessary? Are you satisfied now? Blah, blah, blah. And, he's all defensive. He's being a guy. He's just like, leave me alone. Get out my face. I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk about this. Blah, blah, blah. Making it seem like he didn't do what he did. Making it seem like I'm just screaming at him for no reason. But I had a reason. Just like, okay, so yeah. And he goes inside the building and I go inside the building and we're just like talking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But I'm really the only one that's talking because he's just like, leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you didn't have to steal from me. And he said, I could have you killed. So at this point, he has stolen from me, obviously lied to me, and now he's threatened me. And it kind of went over my head at the moment because I was so upset and so mad. But I really had to process what he was saying, and it was just like, you're really threatening me right now. Like, you didn't steal from me and you're threatening me because you feel like you have to be defensive right now. And then we're just arguing back and forth, back and forth. And I just got to a point where I was just like, when I'm really, really, really upset, like super, super like boiling with anger, I start speaking gibberish and Spanish words come out of me instead of me speaking English and arguing properly. I just like go erratic, and that's kind of what happened in the moment. And we're just going back and forth, back and forth. And he's like, oh, I can get this girl to fight you, leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, you're really being, if you are really that defensive, what are your real insecurities? Because you stole from me, you're threatening me, you're saying everything. You're bluffing, basically, because you're not going to do everything that you're saying you're going to do, even if he did have the means to do it. Because even though he was abusive towards me, he mentally suppressed me, oppressed me in every form that he could, I still had some kind of power over him, and I didn't realize that till a couple of years after. It's a whole different story, whole different ballpark, but that's basically the dynamic of our relationship, well, at the time. And it was just very eye-opening to see that kind of situation blow up the way that it did. I did not get my iPod back. After me and him were arguing. By this time, where we had circled, because the buildings, they have 2 doors on each side of them. So we had went in through the first door that was by the basketball court, and we had exited out through the other door, had walked all the way around, and we're just arguing, walking. And then we had circled back to the basketball court, and I make eye contact with my friends, and they come over to me. He kind of just like disappeared into the wind to be the asshole that he was meant to be for everyone else. And we kind of just left. I told them what happened when I had left them. And even though I didn't get my iPod back, it was kind of like a, I don't know, epiphany kind of, I guess. Because I still got to say everything that I had to say that I held in for so long out of anger and resent. And I don't know, I felt like it was fulfilling. Like, I think because of who the person he thought I was and who the person he thought he was controlling, because I was shy and quiet and aimed to please, that he thought stealing from me wasn't going to be a big thing, that I wasn't going to react the way that I reacted when I approached him. And because he saw a different side to me and saw that that wasn't something that was going to fly by me, that I wasn't going to be like, okay, you stole from me, it's cool, whatever. And he saw that it was the opposite reaction. That was satisfying to me, and it showed me that I didn't have to be that person that people expect me to be, especially when I date people. And I don't know, there are people that like to be controlling. There are people that like to make their partners feel bad because it makes them feel good, but they know that they're always going to be there for them, so they always have someone in their corner. And not having to deal with that anymore was like the hugest weight off of my shoulders. And even though I didn't get it back, I was satisfied with the outcome. I was satisfied that I was able to go to that extent and prove to him and to me that I don't just accept things that get thrown my way. And after that day, I didn't see him for a really long time. Of course, I ran into him again. We live in the same neighborhood, but that really is another story. And I don't know, it just kind of made me feel liberated. It was sad. It was super, super sad. I'm not going to act like it didn't have a toll on me, but it was very liberating to not be in the relationship that I was in anymore, because I didn't have to deal with all that bullshit anymore. And it was satisfying to kind of start new. I mean, this is the end of my junior year, and the sad part, I dealt with it then, but when September came around, which is, you know, the beginning of my senior year, I felt like I was able to start fresh, start new, start on a positive note, and just continue my life from there on out with a different mindset and a different person, the person that I became after that relationship had ended. And that was very satisfying, and I'm not glad that I was in an abusive relationship, but I'm glad that I got out of it the way that I did. People should never feel so put down by someone else that they don't feel like they can get back up. And I'm glad that I got back up, because I could have just went into I did go into a depressive state, but I got out of it. I'm one of those lucky people that did get out of it in a good way, and I had people supporting me and there for me when I needed them to be, and that was very important to me. And I guess that's why I shared this story with people, because it's just, oh my god, here I go getting all emotional. Now I don't really think about that relationship that much anymore, but when I do get asked and, you know, things come up about your love life and things like that, and the people that you've been with, and it's just, I was really with someone that was a monster. Like, so he was doing so bad in his life that he had to take it out on me. And you don't think about it that way, because it happens in samples, bit by bit. He wasn't beating me, he wasn't out front verbally abusive in the public and things like that. It was very minimal and very small at first, and then it builds up, so you don't even notice the dosage that you're taking in when it comes to that type of abuse. And it's just, even though I did go through a sad phase, I needed to, so I can kind of just like, so I could have just filtered that relationship out of my body and start new again. And it was just something that I needed to go through. But people need to know that sometimes it needs to happen, as in going through the sad part and not feeling bad for feeling sad that you were in that kind of relationship. It's okay to feel bad about being in the situation that you're in, because although it feels good to be out of it, that's not how you went into it. And I really did love him in the beginning, and he wasn't that person in the beginning. So that person I did love, but the person he became, the person he showed himself to be, is the person I didn't love anymore. And it was just the biggest, hugest learning experience that led to me being where I am today. He doesn't get too much credit though, but yeah, that's kind of like that story, how that went down. And it's always hard to share things like this, but I'm glad that I do. I'm glad that I can speak openly about it now. So that's just another kind of insider to my life and my situations, and hopefully it can help someone else out there. If you can relate to what I've been through or anything like that, or any words of wisdom, you could leave that down below. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe to my channel. I love doing these kind of videos for you guys. I'm definitely back for good. I'm going to try to stay consistent with these videos, but it is kind of hard dealing with all the crazy stuff happening in my life right now, but it's all for the better. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you in the next video.